Peace, everybody. Welcome to the Healing Out Loud podcast. We have finally made it. Oh my gosh. Welcome, welcome, welcome. If you only knew what it took for me to press this little red button on this screen, you would be so proud of me. Anyways, so my name is Jamesia AKA Adorn Magick. And again, this is the Healing Out Loud podcast. First and foremost, I appreciate you guys and thank you for being here. And I also want to welcome you again. All right, so before we get started, we're going to go over 3 house rules that are very important. And those house rules are for this podcast: we listen and we do not judge. That is rule number 1. Second of all, we're going to come with open hearts and open minds. Rule number 2. Rule number 3 is bring your snacks and bring your water because we need that. All right, with that being said, y'all, obviously it's the first episode. And so we're going to get right into the introduction. Who am I? Where I'm coming from? What do I do? All the good stuff. So let's get into it. I'm so excited. And I got my notes. I'm always going to have notes, y'all. So it's just what I do. Okay. But first and foremost, who am I and why I started this podcast? So again, I'm Jamesia, aka Adorn Magick. That name was actually given to me by my spirit team years ago, and I have been going by that name on certain platforms ever since. That is my healing name, okay? Um, but who am I? I'm a spiritual teacher, a spiritual counselor, and a spiritual coach. Yes, I am all 3 in 1. I'm going to give you a little bit of everything. It is my mission to do so. Okay. Um, I love to help people. Like, it's really a passion of mine, obviously. And I help people through my words, through my encouragement, through my motivation, through my guidance. Um, I have gifts to pull from spirit, different messages and things like that. So I use my gifts. I have a few gifts that I use to connect me to source, to connect me to Mama Universe, to my ancestors, spirit guides, and all of the unknown, right? And I help people through those measures. I'm a dream decoder. I'm so many things, right? And you'll get to know me as I'll get to know you guys as we, progress in this union that we are building starting today. Okay. Um, so, yeah, so I have this question on here that I wanted to answer just so y'all can get to know me better. The question is, what struggles or pivotal moments shaped my healing path? So obviously, as a healer, if you know anything about a healer, you know that healers go through a lot because they have to help people who go through a lot. So you can't help anybody unless, you've been through something, right? Obviously. But I'd say one particular struggle or pivotal moment, that's what we'll call it, pivotal moment that shaped my healing path is um, me being led to transition to another state by myself, having to go through my um, what I would say is my darkest time ever of my life, to do that somewhere else without anybody, and not really and not without anybody um mentally or emotionally, but physically, right? I'm speaking on physically, without having anyone. I was living in my car. I was not knowing, where food would come from sometimes. Um, not knowing, like, just what the next day would bring. Like, and then I started, like, I was, when I, so, okay, let me say this. And excuse me for getting twisted up on my words. Bear with me, y'all. This is the first episode. I am a little nervous, and I'm telling a story to the world, right? That is by far not easy to tell. But when I was in Nevada, I had to go through things that would have me questioning who I really was, questioning what I've done because of the things that I had to go through. But that was without understanding, right? I thought about all the things like, dang, I was a bad person. Because why am I going through this? Like, I'm literal thinking, like, I don't deserve this. I don't deserve this. But it wasn't until the pivotal moment of really allowing myself to um, shape what I'm going through into something that is not judgmental, as far as me judging myself, and shaping it into something that I could see through, right? So not only am I going through this, but I'm turning it into something, like I'm stepping out of my shoes and looking on the outside in, and it's like, okay, what can I do differently? What am I doing right now? And what can I do differently? That pivotal moment was me understanding that things don't happen to me, they happen for me. Okay. And so realizing that and having a clear understanding of that was all that I needed in order to move forward, right? So that is something obviously we'll get deeper into as the shows go by. It may come up again in a different way, or not in a different way, but just more added to the story. Um, but yeah, so what inspired Healing Out Loud is simply me having to express myself and me having to get messages across, me having to share my experiences with you all, with as many people as I can, in order to help us reconnect, help us all reconnect, to our truest selves. That's what inspired Healing Out Loud podcast. I'm so excited. Oh my gosh, this is going to be amazing. Let's see. So, what does healing out loud mean? Healing out loud is literal what it says, right? We're healing, but we're doing it out loud. A lot of people, all day long, we can keep things to ourselves and not want to express and not want to share. Or maybe we're embarrassed about the things that we go through. But not here. Here, we're going to talk about it out loud because we know that there's other people who need to hear it. There's other people going through things in this same, aspect, and they need our help. And so that's what we're going to do on this podcast. We're going to speak our truth, and we're going to help other people speak theirs out loud. And that's literally why vocalizing our healing is important, because it's going to help the next person. And the more people we can help, the more people we can help with understanding, what they're going through, the more people that have understanding, the better off that we are. Okay. Um. So yeah. So obviously, this excuse me. So obviously, this is going to be done through storytelling, sharing my experiences and things like that. And I think that the power in storytelling is the connection that you get. If you're telling me a story versus just giving me facts, I feel like I can resonate with you more, right? I can understand it. I can get to know you because there's different points in the story where you're hitting different areas of the scenario, if that makes sense. And so there's understanding that comes with that, right? And so that's why I think that storytelling, which is what this podcast is basically going to be a majority of the time, that's why I think that that is powerful, okay? Um, let's talk about what you can expect from Healing Out Loud podcast. Um, so one of the things that you can expect is themed weeks, right? So everything will be in order and it will more than likely match up with my social media sites, which I'll give to you at the end of this episode, but it'll more than likely match up with my social medias, themed weeks, because I do themed weeks on social media as well. But yeah, so you can look forward to themed weeks. What we're talking about on social media will fall into this podcast, whether it is that same week or we've talked about it before. Okay, but on the podcast, we may not talk about it before social media, if that makes sense. But I don't know. We'll see. Um, on this podcast, you can expect me to talk about my personal experiences and lessons. We are going to get very deep on this podcast, simply because I want you guys to understand that spiritual paths are not easy at all. Very challenging, but I promise you, it's so worth it. I know that the people who are going to be resonating with me and walking with me on this path, this podcast path, um, we're also going to be adding some fun elements to this podcast. I love fun. I love fun. So that's what we're going to be doing, okay? Um, Q&As, you know what I'm saying? Like journal promptings, questions and answers. Okay. So I wanted to talk to you guys because, like I said, this podcast is not just for me. It's for all of us. It's for you guys. And this podcast is not just for myself. It is for all of us. For everyone who is going to watch it. Okay. There's a vibration that's going to happen and it's going to pull you guys to me. Okay. And so I definitely want to encourage you guys to be active in the community. I do plan on forming a community for this podcast, um, because community is key when you're healing, and especially healing out loud, right? Because you're going to need people to talk to. You're going to need people to lean on, okay? And so that's what we are here for. That's what I am here for. That's the type of community that I'm building here with this Healing Out Loud podcast. So I definitely want to encourage you guys to be active, encourage you guys to reach out if you need anything, okay? Emotional support, all of the things, okay? Um, let's see what else I have here. So, yeah, with that being said, I guess we can kind of get to the ending of this introduction. So, first and foremost, I definitely want to thank you guys. I feel like all the nerves will be out next time I do this podcast, but thank you guys so much for being here. Like, I'm super, super grateful for this opportunity. Super grateful that I have this platform and that I was able to do the necessary things to make this happen today. So, yeah, I love you guys so much. And before we end this, I just want to let you guys know, I definitely, want you to subscribe, share, also follow the podcast. Follow me on all platforms, YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, at Healing Out Loud 337. That is my name for all of those platforms. And yeah, I will see you guys next week on Monday again. I love y'all. Have a beautiful week. Peace.